Britain finally got its hands on Quebec and Montreal, Nova Scotia was starting to grow, with a rising population of British settlers, in a colony based around the British legal system and administration. Quebec, however, was a different story. Everybody spoke French, the colonies were administered in French, and they had their own civil code. One of the important facets of colonial government in Quebec was the land distribution, known as the seigneurial system. This basically involved the king appointing officials to act as land distributors, who would receive plots of land and decide who could live on them. This was all literally foreign to the British. In the past, as with Ireland, Britain had shown a low tolerance for a Catholic-based society and government. However, Quebec was a tricky one. The population was growing, and the economy was continually improving. To tamper with a good thing seemed like a bad idea, and in 1774, Britain passed what would prove to be a landmark policy, the Quebec Act. The Quebec Act pretty much allowed the Quebecois to continue living as they had been for over 150 years. This was huge. The French-based land distribution system would stay. To the people of Quebec, this showed great faith in their ability to manage the province on their own. Another surprise was that they were allowed to continue with their existing system of French civil law, instead of replacing it with the English common law. Civil law applied to any disputes between civilians, such as unpaid debts, property damage, or divorce cases. While Britain assumed control of criminal law in the new province, being able to preserve their civil law liberties was a massive boost for the newly conquered Quebecois. Britain was clearly doing everything in its power to maintain the status quo and not ruffle too many feathers. However, most French were nervous as to what would happen with religion. The vast majority of the Quebec province was Catholic, a faith Britain famously had a problem with. But Britain wanted to keep the new province on side, and gave the green light to Catholicism. The people would be free to practice their religion as they liked, and were under no obligation to swear allegiance to Protestantism.